There we go. Thank you, Jacqueline. Jacqueline, thank you for letting me know that my mic was on mute. Otherwise, I would have gotten the entire presentation like this. So, so let me start over. I am the department chair for the art department over at South Texas College, and we do comprise two programs. We have the visual arts and we have the graphic arts degree plans within our program. The visual arts is more of the canvas, sculptural, tactile based. The graphic arts is going to be the computer based. And so when I was putting this together, I thought, as being students, the types of things that I would want to know. If I was a student and I was interested in either visual arts or graphic arts, what are the types of things that I would want to know? And I think I would want to know what the program's about. I would want to see some of the studio spaces, see some of the equipment that I'll be working with, and learn about the career paths in the program. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, as the presentation proceeds, you did see the first very vital comment come on screen, which is I'm on mute. So as the presentation continues, if you have any questions, any comments, please do post them. Post them in the chat section there on YouTube. And what I'll do is I can address those questions as the presentation continues. And so first thing is I'll show you a tour of the studio so that you could see potentially if you decide to attend, if you decide to pursue a degree in art or graphic design. We call it here graphic arts. So it's either visual arts or graphic arts. If you decide to pursue an associate's, which is the 60 credit hour degree, where you'll be attending classes. So I'll take you through a degree tour or a studio tour of our building over in Building B at the Pecan campus. I'll also show you the degree plan and the types of courses that you will be taking for each degree. I'll show you some samples of student work within our students, within our gallery environments. We just had a student art exhibition, so I'll show you some samples of student work. And I'll also show you a video from one of our professors, Rachel Brown, where she talks about just the creative endeavor in general and how it relates to equitable employment, how you can use creativity to get a job, basically, to get employed, either self-employed or work for somebody else. And then as I mentioned, I'll just continue answering your questions as we proceed. So let's jump right into our studio tour. Hey, so I'm going to take you on a quick tour of our studios. This is the setup that I'm streaming to you from. I have a Mac setup, webcam, I have a light. This is one of our photography rooms, but we're going to come out here into the hallway and go classroom by classroom. We are inside right now the B building. This is the art building. And we're going to go into studio B106. This is our sculpture room, also Design 2. And so we do a lot of 3D media here. So expect to learn a lot of safety, precautionary measures in utilizing a lot of this equipment, because a lot of this equipment, it's intended for constructing and building and cutting and slicing, and so you have to be very careful. But we do have some small sculptural work over here by students. You can see they're also working in clay to design 3D objects. And here's some more of our equipment. So this is our Design 2 / sculpture studio. Let's go over, we're going to exit B106, and we are going to go over into Studio B113. This is our painting studio. This is our beautiful painting studio. Look at how high those ceilings are. We have these really nice open windows. It just creates a really nice light effect in here. And it's really important when it comes to painting because you want that color to jump off the canvas. This is our painting studio. Here's some student work. So let's exit painting. And we are going to take a look at our drawing room next. So as you can see, these walls typically, they will have student work up. This is the other end of the hallway. Usually that we'll have student work up, but because we're in between semesters, see there's just these left over. We have some student lockers for you to store your equipment. We're going into B104, which is our drawing room. Here is our drawing room. So you see we have easels back here. These usually come out into the classroom. We form like a circle around the classroom, and we'll have some type of object, like a still life object to draw. Here's a little drawing that was started. See, we have our skeleton. Here's the model there. We also have we have drawing 1, we have drawing 2. Drawing 2 has a life drawing component. So these things right here, they get placed into the center of the classroom, and we have a live model that does come in. Life drawing, or drawing 2, does have a life drawing component. So you would expect to draw from an actual model in that class. Graphic arts majors, it's an option. Visual arts, it's a requirement to take drawing 2. So let's exit and let's go take a look at our computer labs. There's life drawing session in progress. So this is one of them. This is B128. We'll just take a quick look in here. This is one of our Mac labs. Our Mac labs are used primarily for photography, digital media, and graphic design courses. You can see where some students left like some of this double-sided tape on the walls. We usually have student work up. B129. This is our other Mac lab. Here's some types of things that you'd be doing in your digital media class and a graphic design class. So these computers, they do have an interface. You're typically going to learn Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign on these computers. And they do have these really nice Wacom tablets. So these little pencil things right here, they connect. You draw on the surface, and it interfaces with the computer. So as you're drawing here on this surface, you see what you're drawing inside of Photoshop or Illustrator. These are really nice to use. Sometimes I'll come in here on a weekend and use them myself. But yeah, this is our computer lab, B129. Let's go take a look at our printmaking. you can see, this is our entryway. That over there is our gallery. I'd take you in there, but we don't have any works. Maybe we can just see the space. We have a really beautiful gallery. Get the lights on in here. It's our beautiful gallery space. And right now it is empty. We do plan on having an exhibition go up really soon. You can find us on Facebook there. We shut the lights off. And let's go take a look at printmaking. There's a Pepsi machine. This is a B101 studio. This is our printmaking room. This is part of the graphic arts degree plan, but it's also a field of study option for visual arts. You see, this is a woodcut right here. So oftentimes you're going to be working in woodcut and lino cut, working in linoleum. I think we have some examples in these drawers. This is the press here. So anytime you make whether it's an etching, engraving, woodcut, lino cut, you run through this press here, and it'll compress the paper on top of the plate to create your print. See, here's some. That's what you would expect to be working on in your printmaking class. See, everywhere you carve into this linoleum, this piece of linoleum, and everywhere you carve into it, that's the negative. The positive is on the raised surface. And you ink it over here on this table, and then you get your lino cut or wood cut onto this press with a sheet of paper, and you run it through to create your prints. So let's go over to ceramics. Ceramics is B115. So this is our ceramics classroom. Let's take a look at some of the items you would be making in ceramics. This is what ceramics looks like before it's glazed. It's bisqued. We have a kiln out back. So you create your earthenware out of clay, you bisque it, and then you glaze it. And once your work is glazed, you have to refire and it creates this really nice surface. These are our potter's wheels. So this is, once again, our ceramic studio, and that brings us to the conclusion of this tour. Just wanted to get a sense of what these studio spaces look like. Now this is our gallery page. I did want you to see some student work. southtexascollege.edu/art-gallery, or you just do a Google search for South Texas College Art Gallery. Will bring you to this page. We just had a student art exhibition, just finished. So I'd invite you to go in and take a look at some of the student work. We did have Amaret Garza that came in as our juror. And these award winners, they are cash prizes on the award winners. And like I mentioned, I would invite you to go in so that you can take a further look and see some of the types of things that you will expect to be doing in whether you pursue visual arts or graphic arts here at South Texas College. There's also a really nice video with that we did with a juror, and it is hosted here. The link, you can find it on YouTube. It has these interviews with some of our students, and I was inspired where they talk about their own artwork and what it is that they did to create their own artwork. On the sliced lemon and then I think that's a good way to get a sense of what to expect here is through the perspective of students. Now, I did mention that we have 2 degree plans. Under the art department, we have graphic arts and we have visual arts. This you can also find the degree plan on our webpage. The graphic arts degree plan, this is the recommended course sequence. You're going to be taking your what is known as your core curriculum. The core curriculum, it centers on the English, the math, the history, government, speech. You also have 2 classes that are within the core curriculum that are a requirement because of being a graphic arts or visual arts majors, and that is the Arts 1303 and Arts 1304, which is Art History 1 and Art History 4. Or I'm sorry, Art History 1 and Art History 2, 1303 and 1304. And then you'll also see the courses within the graphic arts degree plan that you'll be taking that are within your field of study. So for graphic arts, you will be taking Drawing 1, Design 1. You'll take Printmaking. You'll take Art History, Digital Media. Digital Media is where you'll get to work inside of the Mac lab that you saw with the computers attached to the tablet. You'll also be taking Art History 2, you'll take Photography, and you'll take Graphic Design. Graphic Design scaffolds on top of Digital Media. So Digital Media is going to be your introduction to the Photoshop, to the Illustrator, and InDesign. And by the time you hit Graphic Design, the aim is for you to be highly proficient in those programs, and so you're centering more on creating products that you would expect to see in a work environment, or if you establish your own business within graphic design. With the visual arts degree plan, it is similar to the graphic arts. You will be doing your 42 credit hours within the core. You'll also be expected to take Arts 1303 and Arts 1304 as part of the core, which is the Art History 1, Art History 2. You'll take your Englishes, your histories, your government, and you'll also take your drawing, design, drawing 2. Drawing 2 is not a requirement for graphic arts. Graphic arts take printmaking instead of drawing 2 because printmaking lends itself more to something like an Adobe Illustrator, very flat, high contrast, vectorized images. But for drawing, for visual arts, drawing 2 is a requirement. You'll also take, like I mentioned, Art History 1. You'll take Art History 2. And you will take digital media as part of a visual arts degree plan. Because now with a contemporary degree in visual arts, we can't escape using digital media like digital photography or knowing how to process images from PSDs to PDFs or JPEGs. Those types of things are very necessary. I know anytime whenever I document my own artwork, I consistently have to create slides of my artwork to submit to exhibitions, to call for entries. And because of that expectation, digital media is also a requirement for visual arts so that you get to understand how digital media works and how it works as related to the visual arts. So if you have any questions as to the degree plans, you can just send me an email. You can give me a phone call for more in-depth information. Please do take a look at the gallery page. I think you'll really enjoy it. It says Jose Garcia asked a question. Let me jump back over here. Jose Garcia, he asks, bring it on screen. He says, is it possible to take visual and graphic arts degree simultaneously? And the answer is yes. You can, since a lot of the courses are very much aligned. And that has a lot to do with the degree that we offer here. South Texas College is a 2-year college. We're a community college. And so the aim is to get you an associate's degree while you are here with us at STC. An associate's degree, and for you to gain foundational knowledge into visual arts and into graphic arts. That associate's degree, it should transfer out to 4-year institutions. And one of the ways that we ensure that that's happening is that we form articulation agreements with 4-year institutions. We also make sure that we're upholding state standards, national standards. Just about every one of our faculty is a member of the of TASA, which is Texas Art School Association. We also make sure we align our curriculum with THECB. And so you come here, you do your 2 years, you transfer out to a 4-year program. So you very well could major in visual arts and then transfer out to graphic design, or major in graphic arts and transfer out to visual arts. You very well could complete your degree with visual arts and then continue to finalize the associates in graphic arts. You could start, if you feel you're interested in graphic arts, you could start with graphic arts. And then as you start taking some of your foundational, like drawing classes, design classes, and if you feel that you kind of would like to switch over to visual arts, you could very much do that. You could easily switch because the degree plans are closely related. This is a good question. Thank you. And so why study visual arts to begin with? Why go into a field that a creative field? And I like to think about what I do on a daily basis, and from the design to the clothes that we wear, to the shows that we watch on television. I think creativity makes our lives just so much better. And I did ask our one of our professors, Rachel Brown, to make a little video talking about creative endeavors and how they can translate into careers. And so same thing as we're progressing, Do continue at type any question inside of the comment, and I'll address them either in chat or on screen. But here is that video with Rachel Brown.
Hi, I'm Rachel Brown, and I'm a professor of art here at South Texas College. But before I was a professor, I held several jobs that required both my skill and my creativity as an artist. So today I've pulled together a little presentation for you about the starting line of using the meta major as a pathway to explore the different kinds of creative careers that might be in your future. So let's begin. As we're getting started here, I would like it if you would go ahead and either make sure you have old school pencil and paper, or possibly a tablet, or maybe even your phone, so that you can jot down, you can take some notes as you're going along here. There are a lot of questions in this presentation, but they're also here to help you think about your own questions, so that when you have the opportunity, you can present those questions, ask those questions of someone in the arts, and hopefully get some good answers that help you figure things out for yourself. So first of all, what do you gain from a meta major, and where can a meta major in art take you? Thinking about college and thinking about what college does to prepare you is about knowledge and about learning content, but it's about so much more than that. So make sure, again, that you have that pencil and paper ready, or that tablet, and take down any notes you need to take down, and also remember to write down any questions you have. Okay, so let's continue. The other thing that's so important about art is, even if it doesn't turn out to be something that your career is based on, there are many, many studies that show that having a creative activity that's part of what you do in your free time is so important to relaxing, de-stressing, and making sure that you have good quality of life. So this is a wonderful quote from Picasso: "Art washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life." So that's an important way that art plays a role in your life as well. Maybe as a career, maybe as a pastime that you relax with outside your career. Okay, so why are the arts a great place for you to start out your career path? Some people think, well, isn't just taking an art class learning how to draw, how to paint? That's part of it, but let's reframe that idea. When you are learning how to draw and paint, or even take a photograph, you are developing your skills of observation. You are learning how to carefully observe and look for certain kinds of details that are going to serve you in any career you go into. So it's not just about what's happening with the hand and the drawing or the painting. It's also about what's happening in your brain as you're processing that visual information and learning how to encode it for whatever it is you're supposed to observe in your career. Some people think, well, I don't know if I want to be an artist. What you're learning in an art class is so much more than just being an artist. You're learning how to put visual ideas together in a framework. So that framework, that composition of a work of art, whether it's a drawing, whether it's a painting, whether it's looking at something and taking a photograph, whether it's creating a print as being demonstrated here, you're figuring out how to create the best composition for your design. So that's a skill in and of itself, learning how those visual ideas go together. Another thing that you're learning is the importance of following a very set procedure so that the end result is successful. You can be great at designing and great at composing, but if you don't understand the procedure of how to paint a painting, or how to make a print, or how to carve a sculpture, you're really not going to have a great end result. So being able to follow those organizing principles and execute those processes are important in lots of different careers, not just in the fine arts, in many other areas. What if, maybe your question is, I don't know very much about art. I haven't visited very many museums. That is okay, because this is the starting point, right? And when you're learning about art, you are opening your own perspective to the rest of the world. You're learning about your own culture, you're learning about other cultures. And it's so important now to be grounded in your own artistic culture, to know where you come from, as well as to be open to the ideas of others. So art is this great place to have that conversation, to start learning that kind of information, and learning how to accept that one person, one culture may have its own artistic ideas and compositions. Another person, another culture may have a different set of ideas and compositional techniques, but both of them are valid, and they're all beautiful in their own regard. And again, making sure that you can work with people from various backgrounds is going to serve you in any career you go into. So it's important to learn those things through studying art. What if you don't know anybody? I don't know anybody who makes art and makes a living. I don't have any role models for that. That's also something that, a lot of us experience. When you're enrolled in your college level art classes, you have the opportunity to collaborate with other students, with other creative minds, and learn how to solve problems effectively in that group setting. And of course, you have your professors. We are here to help you along your way. We're here, as I say, every week, and possibly even every day at some point. I'm here as a professor to help you be successful. So if you're invested in your own success, I am invested in that success as well. So now let's think a little bit about some of those creative careers. And it's always a good idea to make sure that you're looking at a career that fits your skills and fits your personality. So maybe you love a festive atmosphere, right? Vamos a la fiesta. So perhaps something that has to do with party planning is something that's in your future. Floral arrangement, that's my wonderful friend Claudia Garza there with her beautiful flower arrangements that she makes. Cake decoration, party planning, decorating for parties, organizing parties. The great thing about South Texas is we will never run out of parties. That is great job security, so that's something to consider. And if you're a person who is really upbeat and loves the happiness that comes with a celebration, then maybe that's something to look at, something to think about. Maybe you're really tech savvy. Maybe you love to learn and to stay current on latest kind of tricks and computer programs. Well, there are plenty of creative careers out there in this area. So first of all, you have web design and the internet. That can happen from almost anywhere now. Graphic design, same thing. You have your setup at home. You can do graphic design from the comfort of your home office. Industrial and product design, where you're working with three-dimensional objects that you are then taking that idea and turning it into a sample that then possibly will get developed and get produced. That's a whole other area. And then again, there are kind of different levels of various design careers. Sometimes we call a design career something that's quote unquote in-house, which means you actually work for the industry or the company that's producing the object. So the automotive industry, very often they have their own in-house designers, right? Sometimes you work for an agency that actually bids on jobs from those bigger corporations. And then of course there are plenty of people who do their own freelance design work. So there's many levels of design work, and it depends again on what is the best fit for you. I can also say that the industrial and product design when you're working in-house or with an agency, there is a very big paycheck that can come with that, but there's also big deadlines and big stress. So you have to make sure that you can balance out what kind of a lifestyle you want with what kind of a lifestyle you need, because those are two different things sometimes. All right, moving on. Maybe you're interested in health and helping people, but you're really not sure you want to be a doctor or a nurse. Well, there are some medical fields that are also creative careers. So things like biomedical engineering or biomedical imagery and illustration, those both require people who have the skill and the ability to draw, paint, sculpt, create digital images. All of that comes as part of what we need in the biomedical field. And prosthetics is another one. Thinking about helping people who have lost a limb or need reconstruction on part of their body. This is also something that requires a creative visualization ability, and so that's something that might be your creative career. Maybe you love being outside. Honestly, personally, for me, my favorite canvas is my garden. So I love to be out there. I love to look at the shapes of plants, the textures of leaves, the colors that come through, and all of that, if you don't mind getting your hands dirty, is a great place to find your creative career. Landscape design and green or environmental design is an up-and-coming field that we are going to rely more and more on in the next decade as we work towards improving the space on our planet to make sure that we're not making global warming happen in a more serious way than it already is. So green and environmental design, very creative, very visual, very hands-on. If you don't mind, like I said, getting your hands dirty and maybe sweating a little bit, this is a great place to go. Maybe you love to tell a story and entertain people. So in that regard, you might think about things like film and art direction. You might think about special effects, hair and makeup, and CGI, of course. All of it can be done on site, but also a lot of the CGI now happens within people's home studios. Since it's all computer generated, it can happen anywhere you have the powerful computer. So that's something to think about. We do actually have kind of a budding film industry here in Texas, in Austin. So that's something to look into. Film festivals, check out, see where people are meeting up, find out about that as a creative career. And there's also a lot of career experience that's needed in the arts and in creativity in the preservation and enrichment of our communities. So if you have an interest in the past, in the history, or maybe in a specific subject, there are all of these different creative careers that happen in museums. So art museums, of course, they collect and curate art. So they save the art, they keep it in an environment that preserves it. They need people who help prepare, organize, and conserve the art, make sure that it's staying healthy, basically. And then we need art educators in those museums to help lead tours, to help interpret what's happening for visitors and for school tours and that kind of thing. Historical museums are another place where we need creative, career-oriented individuals to preserve our traditions and our culture. The lower image on the screen here is actually the Historical Museum, the Museum of South Texas History, the MOST, and that is located in Edinburg, Texas. I had the opportunity to work there for about 5 years, and we designed and developed a very rich museum program to walk people through hundreds of years of South Texas history and give them this kind of environmental experience. So that was really an amazing experience working with the design team and helping to physically put that exhibit space together. And then there's museums that preserve specific kinds of subjects. So maybe you are just, I don't know, wild about skateboards. I bet somewhere out there in the world there is a skateboard museum, right? So check it out. Think about what some of your favorite objects and subjects are and see if there's a museum somewhere. Maybe that's where you go work, right? Any other things that might help our community that also involve having kind of good visual recognition, good observation skills, good spatial recognition? We don't often think about the art that goes into mapping, but mapping, cartography is definitely an art form. You are kind of blending the science with the skill of mapping. And maps are really necessary in this day and age for our county and regional development council. They help our emergency management folks locate people when there is a disaster, when there is an emergency, when flooding is happening, when we have severe weather that moves through. We need to be able to have accurate maps that reflect what's literally on the ground right now, so that emergency vehicles can be sent out into those areas. And this is especially something that is important because our area is currently developing very rapidly. So every month, every year, there are new neighborhoods, there are new colonias, and we need to make sure that those are accurately mapped so that the Regional Development Council can see, how much water do we need for that area? Do we need to plan for more electricity? Do we need to plan for more emergency management? So coming back around to kind of the bigger picture, and what is it that our employers are looking for when we're looking at careers, when we're looking at jobs? There are all of these what are called soft skills that the employers are also really looking for. They're looking for people who can work well with others, collaborate on projects, listen to each other, behave ethically and professionally. You get a lot of training on that. But it's also important to be flexible with your ideas and be self-motivated. Those creative problem-solving skills come in very handy. Another thing that you need is the ability to time manage yourself, so working with deadlines, juggling different projects, and ideally it's always a great opportunity if you can find some place to do some volunteering or interning or apprenticing, just so you get a little experience under your belt before you try to launch yourself into one of those careers. So how does that art degree help you? Coming back to that meta major idea. Your college art classes help you to develop skills. They are helping you to collaborate with each other on different projects, listen to your classmates, listen to your professors, make sure that you're behaving ethically and professionally and doing your own work, but also being flexible with your ideas, not being set in the idea that this is how my work is going to be and I have to keep it this way. Your professor or one of your classmates may say something that kind of rubs you the wrong way, but also is a great suggestion for taking your work to the next level. So problem solving creatively. And then always in art, you're always going to have multiple deadlines and multiple projects going on at the same time. So you have to really learn how you're going to juggle all of that and make your time effective so that you can meet your deadlines. Of course, there are artists who like art so much that they focus straight to the art, right? They study art as an art historian, they make art, and they teach art. So that's some of us as well. But for myself, again, I had several jobs before I became an art professor, and this was a great lesson to me. I have not ended up yet where I started out. I started out as an archaeological illustrator in my 20s. So I worked in archaeological excavations, digs, everywhere from Indiana to Africa. And then I ended up here in South Texas at a historical museum for about 5 years before I started my career as a teacher. So I have kind of done a little bit of a, maybe not a loop, but kind of a path myself. That path has always been, interesting. It has always kept me on my toes. Sometimes it has been a little bit outside my comfort zone, but it has always been very rewarding. And I also have the opportunity to work with nonprofits in our area, painting murals. There's a picture of a mural that I painted for the South Texas Civil Rights Project several years ago. And so there's always opportunities that are coming up to engage with the community and find a place to make my art help. And I think that's one of the most important things for me personally is how is my art helping the world be a better place? So think about it. Where do you want to go? Let art take you there. Thank you very much for your attention, and think about any questions you still have. Please write those down. Here are a couple of my wonderful students in the past helping to put up a temporary exhibit and receiving awards for their artwork at a little show that we had in the library. And if you have any questions, if you simply must ask, I encourage you to do so. That's what I'm here for. There is my email, rfbrown@southtexascollege.edu. So send me an email. Dear Miss Rachel, please, I need to know more about XYZ. Let me know and I will be happy to help. Thank you again for your interest and your support in all of the arts. And remember, arte es vida. Art is life.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that presentation. I'm one of those that just went straight into the art type, and I do have a lot of background with graphic arts. I do enjoy Photoshop, Illustrator, so I'm like one of those that sometimes I work digital, sometimes it's visual, but like what Rachel Brown, what she mentioned was if you go straight into the art path, I went into art education. It was a really good presentation. If you wanted to contact her, she is one of our art historians. Her email is rfbrown@southtexascollege.edu. You can email her any questions. Email myself, and I know we talked about the degree plans. We talked about career paths, things you might expect. You got to see our studios. And I know, meeting virtually, it'd be a lot easier if we were able to meet in person, and then I could show you the studios. And as we're going through the spaces, maybe I can turn on one of the Macs. But since we can't do it as a group, I'd be more than willing to meet with any one of you individually. If you wanted to come down here to the building, and you wanted to take a tour, just send me an email. You can give me a phone call, 956-872-2188, or you can send me an email, lacorpus@southtexascollege.edu. If you have any questions on enrollment, I know for myself that was one of the things, like, where do I even start? Like, I want to go to college, but where do I go? Where do I start? Those are the types of things that I can help you out with, and I can get you in contact with the right people. That information, it is. Let me jump back over into real quick. If you go into the web page, just go to South Texas College register. you'll find information on like where to enroll, like how to enroll, and the steps that you'll need to submit your application for FAFSA, make sure the TSI requirements taken care of, financial aid. Advising is something that I can really help you out with, um, and let you know. I know the degree plan is online, but it's sometimes can be very daunting, especially if you're a student who's going to college. You're the first one in your family going to college. I know sometimes those questions are, very difficult to answer for you because you don't have that, that person that you can refer to. But that's why we're here. That's why academic advisors are here. That's why your art faculty are here, is to support you. And I know at the beginning of the video it said, we're here because our students, like students, we're here because of you, and I think we all take that to heart. We exist to promote our own understanding of the visual arts, and somehow transfer it to you so that you can create your own understanding, your own interpretation, and you create your own path. And we're also here to help you, and not only with the enrollment, but also to make sure we see you all the way through until graduation. So, since there are no more questions, if you do have any questions after this presentation is done, just go ahead and send me an email. And this does conclude our presentation. I want to thank you for joining us today. You guys take care.